Well, happy Chinese New Year, everyone. So I thought I'd hop on here and give you a status update on the channel. Since it is a new year, and it takes me about a year to edit a video, I think. I'm actually trying to get faster. Currently, I'm working on episode 3 of painting over canvases with gel mediums, I think the long title is. But I thought while I'm working on that, I would put up little tutorials. I found some older ones that I had recorded earlier and I never edited. And I don't think this little girl is ever going to go to competition, unfortunately, because it's also taking me a couple of years to paint her. She's probably like 12 now, this child. So I was hesitant to show you this image because it was going to go to competition, but honestly, who has time for competition with work and expanding a studio and working on a YouTube channel? This was my original image for the eyes video, and I noticed that I had recorded some steps in between that I might not have mentioned in the eyes series, and we do have one more step with that. So I'm going to go pick through some of my old recordings, and in this one, we're going to talk about how to write the actual action that I used in the eyes videos. So the action that I run, you're going to see how I recorded that action, how I saved it, and how I can always play it every time that I want to digitally paint eyes. So that is the lesson for today. And the lesson for me is to get editing. So here we go. This is a basic Photoshop lesson to explain to you what an action is. If you worked in Photoshop and you have seen these little tabs over here, and these are the tabs that I set that I use the most often, you might see the word actions here. So what exactly is an action? Photoshop gives you a default set of actions just to tell you what they do. Basically, it's an automated way to get Photoshop to do 3 or 4 steps for you that you frequently do without having to frequently do them. Meaning, if you always add curves to an image, if you always add levels to an image, if you always add hue and saturation to an image, instead of going through this little button on the bottom and hitting levels, curves, exposure, brightness, you can write yourself an action that will do those things for you. And I've written actions for things that I found myself repetitively doing through the years. Like some of my actions here might be funny, but a lot of my clients, their dads were the blue collar workers. They were firemen, they were policemen, they were construction workers. So sometimes their skin was a little bit more ruddy or red from being in the sun than the rest of the family. And so I would just casually make that a little less redder than everybody else. And I'll show you some images where I did that. I also have remove red blotches. If a baby was born and, has little pressure blotches on their face, we take it out. Desaturate. That's pretty much self-explanatory. Yeah, we'll run the action for desaturate. So you'll see what happens. It makes an adjustment layer. And then I always make my actions default to a black mask. And here is why. I generally don't apply these applications globally. Most times I'm doing it only in one particular area. And therefore, I make my mask turn black here, and then I paint with white to make the effect happen. And I can run it both ways. I can run the action to desaturate, and then I can remove the mask, and then it's desaturated. Not fully unsaturated, just desaturated. But that is not a look that I want here, so I'm going to throw that away. So here I have the image open with the layers that I need to start painting the eyes. And what I did was to put those layers on the image, I ran the action called Painter Eyes Layers. And that's inside the folder, Mare's Painting Actions. So you have your default actions from Photoshop. Mare's actions are just general actions that I've written over the years, like I said, with with the funny names. Then we have Mare's painting actions. In this folder are 5 actions. Painter eyes layers that we have here. Painter eyes layers for outdoors, which is a video that's coming next to show you how to do the same technique, but to keep the look of an eye that's outdoors. Painter final sharpen is an action that I run on an image that comes out of Painter because they tend to get a little soft when you convert them to Photoshop. Paint dabs prep is an old action I wrote years ago to smear up my painting before I took it into Painter. And then adjustments are general curves and layers, burning and dodging that I like to add to an image when it's complete. And I'm going to also do a video about burning and dodging as opposed to using the burn and the dodge tool and what's the difference. You can see that I have here play action burn. I have an action called burn and I have an action called dodge, and that's going to be coming up in another video. So the best way to show you how I wrote this action is to rewrite the action. As I rewrite the action, I could either ask it to do the same thing again, I can rename things, I can change things. That's how I'm going to proceed, and as I proceed through recording it again, you're going to see how I recorded the stages for the painter eyes layer action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put record again. And when I put record again, it's going to run through the steps of the action. So record again. First thing that comes up, it tells me I want to duplicate my background layer. I want to make a copy to edit on. And I'm going to say, okay, yes, I want that step. Now it's going to rename that layer to retouch. And I do that because sometimes you'll make another copy of the backdrop and another copy of the backdrop and another copy of the backdrop, and it'll just keep saying backdrop, copy, 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 copy. So sometimes it's better to just rename the copy, especially if you're doing something specific on that layer like retouching. Now it says layer 1, which is just a plain empty layer, and I'm going to call it details. And I'm going to let it create the layer. And yes, the blending options right now, I want it 100. I don't want a stroke. I just want a plain old plain layer. Now the next one comes up. It says layer 1. I can hit okay. I know what it's going to name this layer. It's going to name this layer catch light 1. 2 catch lights in a painted eye. Catch light 1. Catch light 2. I know layer 1, catch light 2. Okay, that's good. Layer 1, it always goes back to layer 1 if you rename them. And that's also very good to rename your layers. If you look down here, right here, I have my layers, my detail layers, my catch light 1, my catch light 2. That's basically what the action is, just to remind me what layers I need. Moon 1 is a layer 1, and then moon 2 is a layer. Okay, now it's going to stop. Now I wind up changing the name of that layer to detail, but I don't want that on the bottom of the list. So what I'm going to do is take painter's eyes layer, and instead of record again, now I'm going to start recording, and I'm going to move this to the top, and I'm going to press stop. Okay, so what did that do? What that did is it told the action, oh, and by the way, this new layers I call detail and I created first. No, I want you to put that last. All right, so I'm going to take everything out of here and run the action again to show you the changes we made. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go to the top of the action, make sure you're on the top, close the arrow. The arrow has all the steps that you told it to do. These are all the steps I told it to do. Not to get confused, if I hit play at any of these points, it will start the action midway. So I'm going to go to painter eyes layer, and I'm going to hit play, and now you can see here that all my details are in the right place now. My layer, my details, my moon 1, moon 2, catch light, all the layers I need are there. And if I want to work on a new painting, I'm going to close this. I'm not going to save anything because she had her eyes already done. I didn't need those layers on there. And when I'm ready to do the eyes on another painting, then I just come here and I press the button, and there are my layers, and now I can start working. So that's why it's important to write an action. Saves you a lot of time along the way. If you have any questions or concerns about the video, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope you subscribe. Join us for more Photoshop videos and painting videos, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.